This says it very well. So here's the consequence. If you're educated in that way, if you're told that your experience doesn't matter, just take my word for it.
Like Dr. Pickle says in his class.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In this manner, education produces distorted and biased minds. So this is the bottom line. And this speaks to the whole, the larger project of education, to free people's minds, to liberate them from their prejudices, to allow them to become free, productive, open-minded people. In this matter, education produces distorted and biased minds, which is the reason why in our youth, after much learning and reading, we enter the world partly as simpletons and partly as cranks. Which I think is just a brilliant way to say it. And then behave nervously at one moment and rashly at another. For our minds are full of concepts which we now attempt to apply, but almost invariably introduce in an ill-judged and absurd way. So this is like when we were talking about Mary's kids going into the city for the first time. You have to, on their own. You don't want to be a simpleton in New York City because you'll get taken advantage of.
Yes.
And you also don't want to be a crank or nobody wants to be your friend. So a crank is somebody who is dogmatic, closed-minded. A simpleton is also just, well, closed-minded, I guess, but more...
Out of ignorance.
Yeah, out of ignorance instead. Just doesn't have any clue. So that's, I think, Schopenhauer expresses very well what's right about Aristotle's approach to ethics, that it creates people who can function in the world.
Practical wisdom.
Practical wisdom.
That you can use. Wisdom you can use and see in the world.
Good. Okay,
Okay.
now to our last and most anticipated question.
Did you get that sigh, by the way? That was a
Yep.
profound sigh.
Like, I am so done with this. Okay.
It goes to whoever wants to pick up the question first. Suppose Professor Pickle is on trial for murdering Doctor Who.
Oh, no.
And under oath, you must testify about how he used his Slurpees to freeze him to death. And what you will say will incriminate him. Would you lie to save Professor Pickle and be loyal but dishonest? Or would you tell her what you know and be honest but disloyal? Very tough question,
I would tell
know.
the truth. I'm sorry, Jonathan.
Oh, he would want you to tell the truth.
Yes, he would.
Because he's a Kantian at heart. But I think this does point to a weakness of Kant that Aristotle is one of Aristotle's strengths, is that Kant has these rules, these imperatives, and he talks about lying to the murderer at the door. That you should never lie. You should, if your friend's hiding in the house, you should tell the murderer the truth because you're making an exception. I don't think Kant does very well with competing duties. And I think it's hard sometimes to separate motive and consequence. And I think that the duty to preserve life trumps the duty to tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
However, that doesn't apply in this case. I think that I would absolutely have to turn in Dr. Pickle and tell the truth because there is no competing claim for an obligation or duty that would give me pause. If I knew that Dr. Pickle had the answer to the moral quandaries we face, then maybe that duty to the world would trump this particular loss of Doctor Who. But yeah, that's what I would do. I don't think Aristotle would disagree with that either. I don't think anyone would.
Just don't do it, Jonathan.
Yeah, he won't. He won't.
Well, he loves his Slurpees.
He does. And now he loves Energems! Okay, so...
All right, we can end there. I want to thank you very much, and Professor Pickle wants to thank you as well for helping me out, because this will help my grade, right?
Right.
Yes.
Give her an A.
All right.